You never really forget your first true love. I know I haven't. And I'm not just talking about the romantic love. We all remember that very fondly. I'm talking about the first big idea that you fall in love with. And for me, 25 years ago, it was sustainability. It was love at first sight. I was just enthralled. We had a fantastic courtship and have been involved in a very long-term relationship for the past 25 years. It's been really delightful, and I've been just so in love. And then something shifted for me. Maybe it was Barbie claiming to be in sustainable packaging. I don't know. It just seemed a little bit, something started to change. I started feeling there was some greenwashing going on, but also times have changed. We all know that climate change is here, and we also know that there's volatility in our world that we haven't really seen before. And it's not just around ecological systems, it's also about geopolitical systems. And also the economy, which had a pretty large hiccup 5 years ago. And in my world as an investment professional, people say volatility is the new normal. I prefer that to flat is the new up. But the truth of the matter is that we live in volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous times. This acronym VUCA actually comes from the military. But it's true. And if volatility really is the new normal, we really don't know what the future holds. Some people believe we're on a slow and steady journey towards collapse. Some have referred to that as the long emergency. Some people feel like we might have sudden catastrophe. And then on the positive side, some people think that we're going to have consciousness breakthrough, maybe technological breakthrough. Maybe this sustainability mantra will help us evolve our consciousness and really transform society. Maybe we'll shift our priorities and really understand what it takes to live in harmony with each other and with natural systems. Perhaps. The real truth is that we don't know. And part of the challenge is how do we cope with all these possible different future scenarios? I was an investment advisor who's been a champion of sustainability. I have been wed to this idea that maybe business could be the solution. And I still think business plays an important role. But ultimately, what I started to really feel was that resilience is really the solution as far as a mindset that we need to embrace. Because while sustainability, I think the tenets still hold true, these uncharted waters that we're in right now require a completely different mindset. And even though I'm a dreamer and I do believe that sustainability should be the common core values that we adopt as a human civilization, if we are going to face challenges, resilience offers fantastic insights as to how we can live our lives. So let's look at resilience. Resilience requires a mindset of flexibility. It requires adaptability and the ability to not just be stuck with your own perception, the ability to take multiple perspectives at all times. And adaptability really is going to become incredibly important given climate change. Part of my role as an investment advisor is encouraging people to be prepared for all possibilities. We have to figure out how to bounce back. But the truth of the matter is that what does it really mean to be ready for anything, for any possible future? Well, part of it is just really looking at your own life and looking at all the different assets that you have on a personal level. Your relationships, your community, your neighbors, your churches, your nonprofits. How do you strengthen those? How do you come together as a family and the people that you care about? Those are real assets to you. And if we are going to face challenges, relying on these people and strengthening those bonds, that's your support system. We really need to invest, if you will, in these relationships. What about your career and its meaning? People can repurpose their career and adopt lifestyle choices that can help facilitate this transition to a more harmonious way of life. Perhaps you can be an advocate at the local level or at the federal level or the state level. You could use your power of share ownership in companies to try to have an influence in how they operate. Then you could also go deep within to your spiritual world, to your psychological world, and really think about, who am I? Why am I here? And what is my purpose for being? And how can I grow as a person? And these are investments. These are personal assets. And part of what the resilient investor is all about is this idea that investing is not just financial. Really investing in your personal assets, it's a whole category of your life. And it really can figure out how to use your time and your energy. Where you place your attention is what creates your reality. It's your belief system. Because if you believe that we're going to have breakdown, or you believe that we're going to have a breakthrough situation, then your choices, your behaviors will really be quite determined for you based on that system of beliefs. Well, then there's your material world, your stuff. It starts with your home, obviously. It starts with what you buy, the resources that you can find in your local community. And there are things that you can do to change that, obviously, and to improve it, and to live in harmony with natural systems like solar systems. And you can certainly do plenty to collect rainwater and try to live lightly and lower your carbon footprint and all those other wonderful things. But home is where the heart is. It's also where your food can be, and it's also where you have the greatest amount of control over your environment. It's a very, very important asset. The same with reaching out into the larger concentric circles of your influence in the global economy to try to figure out how do you integrate your values in with your decisions about where you shop and where you bank. These are really important issues around making sure that what you're supporting reflects who you are as a person. There's also nature itself. Looking at agriculture, looking at forests, looking at the oceans. How do we extend our influence in order to take care of these things? Because an economy is completely based on the ability of these systems to be regenerative. We've been rather exploitive throughout our civilization. Nature is telling us to wake up and adopt a different way. Are we willing to do that? What's it going to take to do that? These are our tangible assets that we can engage, that we can use, that we can throw our values into in order to be responsible, to be ethical, and to hopefully be more regenerative. And then there's the whole financial world. Local investing, putting your money to work in the local community where you can have a relationship with it to support people that you know. The relationship-based economy is probably going to take on a much bigger role in our society. People have concerns about supporting things which are far away and the ethical implications. There have been lots of abuses. So having relationships with your money, to see it at work, to know that your money is doing good to create jobs locally, is really an important aspect of what drives people these days. And this trend is likely to stick around. That being said, people have stocks, they have investments out there in the world. How do we use those in a responsible way to support companies with good practices that take care of labor, that take care of employees, that give back to communities, that treat indigenous peoples with respect, that don't harm the environment? This also can be a part of how we steward our resources. And then, of course, we can do innovative things with money. We can participate in microfinance and crowdfunding and really high-impact businesses that are startups that really are triple bottom line, that are going to change the system, change the game, if you will. And this approach is not business as usual, it's really changing business to be not so usual, to be highly unusual, and hopefully highly impactful. So these are our financial assets. So my partners, Christopher Peck and Hal Brill and I, when we wrote the Resilient Investor, we decided that we have these 9 zones. And we decided to make a map out of it because, in our view, this is the real asset allocation. This is, if you think about all your assets, all of who you are, from the personal to the global and everything in between, it all can fit onto this map. We have the close to home strategies, both at the personal level and at the tangible level and at the financial level. We have this participation in the sustainable global economy. How do we impact that? And then we have, how do we change the system ideas? And I think we are going to need to change the system. We're already seeing evidence of the system having cracks in it. It's very evident. And from that decay, how do we rebirth something that really makes sense and that really meets our needs? It's not going to be easy. I'm not overly romanticizing this. We call this the resilient investing map. And the idea is that you could go into each of these zones and you could really think, well, what can I do to strengthen my capacities, my personal capacities, my tangible capacities, my financial capacities? Because not everybody has all of these resources, but you do have yourself. That's definitely something you have. You have your time, you have your energy, you have your attention. You can do lots of good with it. You can change your career. You can do all kinds of things that make a difference in the world. You can serve, and you can be part of a community that could become resilient. There are all kinds of initiatives going on around the world just along those lines. So the issue really becomes, how do we figure out how to thrive in these crazy, turbulent VUCA times? And I think thriving, as you can tell, I'm an optimist, and I think that thriving is possible, but it really does require that we embrace this very colorful, very vibrant design for how to live your life. And so I'm in love again. I feel like this is something that really speaks to me. It really speaks to investors who are very concerned, who are very nervous. Not only because there's a lot of cash sitting on the sidelines do we know that people are nervous, but people don't like volatility. It's very unsettling. It doesn't feel safe. And if this is going to be the new normal, how can people feel comfortable? And how do you feel in your heart that you're going to be okay? So perhaps this is one solution to helping people really feel better about navigating the future, no matter what your belief system. Again, if you're a doomer or a dreamer or anything in between, the truth is you could be wrong. And I speak to all kinds of people who are doomers, and I listen very attentively to them, and they could be right and they could be wrong. And people listen to me. They call me naive as an optimist. I could be wrong. So how do we hedge our bets on our worldview? That's partly what resilience really is not being so sure that your cosmology, your way of looking at reality is the right one. People are so sure that they know. And there are lots of prognosticators out there, and boy, do they command the airwaves. And they're certain what's going to happen. But when we really look inside of ourselves and we really think, how do we be well prepared for the future? I think it really has to do with taking inventory of yourself on all different aspects of your entire life and really think about how do you marshal all of who you are to be able to thrive on all different levels. And that is something that I'm in love with. Naturally, I would like you to be in love with that. I'm willing to share my love with you and hope that we can all be in love together. Thank you.